Hello people, so in the last video we have managed to input the username and password from the register page, store them into the database from the register parse page, and now we're gonna add some additional checks for the username and password to see if they are eligible to be stored in the database. First thing we have to check is if the both username and password field are filled in. If both of them are not filled in, or either one of them is not filled in, then we'll tell the user to fill in both of the fields. Then we're going to check if the username contains invalid characters. We cannot allow any characters other than letters A to Z and numbers 0 to 9. And we're going to check if the password minimum length is greater or equals to 8. Basically, it means that the minimum length must be 8 for the password. So the first thing before we insert to the database, I'm going to comment this out first. Alright. We're going to check if the username field and the password field are both filled in. So if either one of the field is not filled in, we'll tell the user to fill in both. And if they have filled in the username and password correctly, then we must further check that the username doesn't contain invalid characters, which that function to check for invalid characters will be saved in a new PHP file, which I'll name it functions.php. And in this file, it's gonna contain a function that we need in the forum, like posting comments or posting a post. Basically all the functions that is needed in the forum. So the first function we'll have is the has invalid characters. This function checks if the text specified contains invalid characters or not. In this case, we're going to check the username. So if the username contains invalid characters, it will return true, which means that the text has invalid characters. If not, it will return false, which says that the text doesn't contain invalid characters and we can continue the registration. So we're going to use a function called pragmatch, which will check if the characters check if the text doesn't contain any it's going to return a boolean from the function pragmatch, and this function will check if the invalid characters contains in the text. We'll check if these characters are inside, which are all the characters you don't want to have in the username. And the second parameter will be the text itself. And then in the register parse page, we will include this function page. And we're going to check if username has invalid characters or not. Then we'll tell if it contains invalid characters, we'll tell the user that the username can only contain letters, small letter A to Z and capital letter A to Z, and numbers from 0 to 9. If it doesn't contain invalid characters, we'll further check if the password meets the minimum length that we specify. So the minimum length here will be 8. We'll check the length of, we'll get the length of the password from the count function. So if it meets the minimum length, then we will insert username and password into database. If not, we will ask the user to enter another password that has the minimum length of 8. Okay, right now I'm going to test if it works. So I'm going to first check for the blank. If both are blank, they will tell the username and password field must be filled in. If one is blank, it will still have the same, and if the other one has, it will still have the same output. And now we're going to check if the username has invalid characters or not. So I'm going to type in some invalid characters, and then with the password filled in. And the username then will tell the user that username can only contain letters, which is this, and numbers. Then we will check if the password length is smaller than 8 characters. So test 1, 2, 3, 4. This is only 7 characters, so it should, enter a password with a minimum length of 8 characters. Okay, so when it reaches here, it means that the password has met the minimum length and the username doesn't contain any invalid characters, and both the username and password field is filled in. And now we can proceed to insert username and password into the database. So I'm going to copy paste the code from the bottom to here. Gonna properly indent it. Okay, so now if we do like test with a password that matches 8 in length. Alright. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to use the count function. I'm supposed to use the string length function. It's not the count. It should be string length. And it will allow me to register. So please take note that the count function shouldn't be used. You should use the string length function instead. So in this video, we've checked. We have added additional function to check if the username contains invalid characters or not, and then we have checked if both the username and password fields are filled in, and the password must have a minimum length of 8. And if the user's username and password meets all these criteria, then we will allow them to register. If not, they won't be able to register.